In this video series, I'm going to go over project number 1 using Power BI. I've already done another video set on Tableau, and this one we're going to split it up into 3 different videos. One talking about importing the data, cleaning it, another one about modeling the data, and another one about visualizing the data using Power BI. Tableau and Power BI try to accomplish the same thing, but they have different means of doing it. So benefits and pros and cons to each one. In this video, I'm just going to go over how to import the data and kind of clean it up. So without further ado, here's our data set. It's a list of YouTube trending videos from the months of, I believe, November 2017 to February of 2018. It gives us a title, the channel that posted it, the category, gives us a date that it was posted and the date that it showed up on trending videos, views, likes, dislikes, number of comments, and then tags. We went ahead and cleaned up this data for you to make it kind of easy, because we want you, the focus here to be to introduce you and orient you to these programs, Power BI and Tableau. So open up Power BI and we're going to click on a button that says Get Data. When you open Power BI, this button will also appear in a yellow window on the left side, but if that doesn't show up, then up here we want to get data. Okay, it'll ask us where we want to get the data from. Some of you might be tempted to go click Excel, but this is saying specifically it's pulling data from an Excel workbook. The file that we have is actually a CSV, which is classified typically as a text file. So let's go and connect to that. Just pull it up. It'll take a second. And it gives us a preview of what that data looks like. Now, you can load this into your model if you feel like it's already clean, but typically we'll want to go ahead and edit, and it'll open up the Power Query window. Any of you who've used Excel, and especially those of you who use the Power Query add-in, this is going to look very familiar because it's basically the same, a couple differences. But yeah, so let's take a look at our data. Okay. First things first, we want to go over the syntax of Power BI. It kind of plays out like a Microsoft Office app. It has all these little cards up here and options. Lots we can do with. Queries, this shows all the queries that we have. A lot of times you'll connect to multiple data sources and you'll have various queries. In fact, we might go over that in these videos in Power BI, because there's a cool way we could just simplify this data. We have each column you can click on. We have a drop-down menu that allows you to sort it or select certain ones in your query. You can also, on the left side, you see these ABC. Some of them have a calendar. These icons, if you click on them, allows you to format the column. So in this case, ABC is considered a string or text, as Power BI calls it, to kind of simplify. There's another one called date. There's a date time. There's just a time, etc. They even use different locations. You can locale. What locale does is, let's try to pull it up so I can explain it. You can import your own kind of if you're working with international data sets that have different languages in them, you can, for example, change this to data type sets and then use a different locale, because every language is different. It kind of helps Power BI recognize it a little easier. And yeah, so in this stage we want to clean the data. Oh, one more thing before I get to that point. Control Z, or the undo button, doesn't really work in Power Query. What it does is every time you change something is you apply steps, and everything you do shows up here in list, and then it'll update. So if I wanted to change the format right here, it'll replace it. Of course, that gives us an error, but it'll step it right there, and we can just undo that and press the X if we ever want to undo. Okay? Okay. Now, first things first. If we want to clean our data, first we need to understand what it's trying to tell us. So like I said, the CSV file says that this is a list of every single video by day that ends up on YouTube's trending video list. Okay, so let's take a look. Let's just look at one. Okay, so this is interesting. This is a notable point. You want to look at our data. So this is one video. Let's see. Yeah, it's one video posted by the same channel, same category on the same day. So this means that all three of these represent the same video. What then is the difference? If you watch the Tableau videos, or if you've already kind of deduced it yourself, you'll notice that the trending date is different. So what this is saying is that even though it's the same video, and we're going to find a lot of repeat values in this because each instance of the video is going to show up every day that it showed up on YouTube's trending video list. So this day in particular was showed up on the list 3 days in a row. Okay, and then it shows us the views, dislikes, likes, number of comments, and tags. So tags just means, think of it kind of like hashtags or tags that distinguish a video from another. So now you could absolutely modify this to however you want. One of the things I did in my analysis was I did a little column split, because you can see there's these little separators between each tag, and I counted how many tags were in each video, and I did an analysis to see if there's any sort of correlation between the number of times they show up on trending versus tags. We're just going to kind of go through the data now and clean it and see which things we want, which ones we don't want. Something nice about Power BI and these data visualization tools is you can rename things. So let's say I just want to rename this table to be US trending videos. I could just double click on that, type what I want, and press enter. You can also do the same thing for column names. Now this is a pretty clean data set, so I don't want to change too much, so I'll just go ahead and leave that. So let's take a look at formats. These are formatted as text. This looks good. This, however, is not. Let's take a look and see maybe what could be causing that. These all look like they're dates, so why wouldn't it be formatting? Let's try formatting it to date. No errors there. Now a couple of nice cleaning tools, you could just shift click, right click, and then what we could do is we could just remove errors if you wanted to, just to be sure. A lot of times there will be just a couple rows in your data or multiple rows that you could just remove, and it'll remove the entire row and remove any errors from your query. Okay, let's take a look at views, likes, and dislikes. You'll notice that all of these for some reason are formatted as letters. So let's take a look. Interesting. Okay, so it looks like this has a dash in it, which makes sense as to why it's not formatting as a number. Also a dash there. Okay, it doesn't seem like there's a dash there, but then again, there's a lot of values in here. So the reason why it's reading it as a text or a string is because, one, there's commas in the values, and two, there are dashes that denote zeros in this as well. So, also another column we want to look at is number of comments. So let's take a look. Also has a dash. So how do we quickly replace these values? In Excel, you could take the time to go and double click and try to take out every single dash and replace it manually with a 0. You can also use a find and replace function. So we're basically going to be doing something just like that. So let's go ahead and select all these columns here. So you can do this by either holding Control and clicking each one, or you could just hold Shift and click to the column that you want to. Okay, let's right click. There's an option here that says replace values. You can also see it up here at the top. Let's click replace values. And it looks like the value you want to replace is dash, and let's replace it with a 0. Okay, let's see. Excellent. Okay, looks like that did that okay. So let's try formatting this as a whole number. looks okay. Okay, looks okay. So that looks formatted. We got everything. Yeah. Some other cool options I'll just show you real quick. I'm actually not going to be using this column tags for this presentation, but I'll show you some really cool things you can do with Power BI and cleaning the data. So you'll notice that a lot of these tags, each one has these quotations around it. Some may have extra spaces, some could be completely capitalized. So there's a couple different ways I could actually transform this data to make it look really nice. For example, if we right click and hit transform, we can change everything to lowercase. We could capitalize each word. So I'm going to go ahead and do that actually and see what that does. There you go. It looks a little nicer. I'm going to go to transform again. And let's hit the trim button, see what that does. May not have done anything. Let's see. Clean. See what that does. Not sure if that did much either in length. Interesting. So let me just walk through what I just did. So first thing you did was capitalize each word. So sounds pretty obvious. Space every word. This used to be lowercase Pacific Rim, but now just capitalize each word. Pretty self-explanatory. I trim the text. So what trimming the text means is that it removes leading spaces, which is really important in sorting and filtering your data. Cleaning text as well could sometimes remove, for example, quotations. Since I didn't split this data into different columns, it didn't recognize that these were separate values, which is why it didn't remove the quotations. But sometimes if you have data that has quotations around it or other random symbols, Power BI is very intuitive in that it will remove these extra data, these data types and these little characters. It's kind of really nice. Calculated text length. What that looked like it did is that it took the number of characters in the string and counted them. This one said 15. Let's take a look and see what that looked like first. So Chantel Martin, if you count that, it'll add up to 15. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And then we have to make sure we count the space in there as well, which is 15. Okay. Excellent. Let's go ahead and undo that. I don't really care about this column anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and right click and I'm going to hit remove column. In Tableau, this is called hide column. In Tableau Prep they actually do have like a remove column thing, but since this project we're not going to be really working with that, I just would say don't worry about it. So we're just going to remove this column right here. Okay. Always want to make sure that everything looks okay. Alright. So I think everything looks alright. So I'm going to go ahead and hit close and apply. What that'll do is it will save the query, and it'll only pull in that data in that format already for you. So if you click on the data view right here, it's basically the same table, right? But it'll format it for you. Okay. Now, another cool thing, so once you're in the data view, let's go even further with cleaning the data, okay? So looks like the publish date, because we formatted it correctly, it not only gave us the short date format, but when we go to the data view, it gives us the day, the month, and the day, the day of the week, the month, the day, and the year already formatted really nicely. So it kind of looks nice. Let's go even further. So let's go to this modeling tab right here. Kind of nice. Now you may think, is this the modeling part of the video? No, we're still kind of trimming and cleaning things. Power BI, something interesting about it is that it hadn't seemed to really made up its mind as far as separating the whole modeling process from the cleaning process to the visualization process. It's kind of a weird thing. Anyways, so I guess it's just a personal opinion. You'll notice a couple things. There's no longer a format view, or the little buttons here at the top left or right are now gone, and they've been replaced under the modeling tab right here. So you could format in the query, you can format the data here. You can even go further with the formatting, in the sense you can add the 1000 separator, which I actually really want to do. I think that looks nice. and I can do that for each column. Perfect. So that looks a little nicer. You can also add decimal places. We don't really need those because it's pretty simple information. We'll be calculating a percentage as well, so we'll want to do a percentage, and you can do different kind of summarizations, averages, minimum, maximum, things like that. Kind of nice. So alright, I think that's all I want to cover in this video for importing data. Hopefully that gives you a generic introduction to importing and kind of cleaning up your data a little bit. The next video will be covering modeling, and then another one about visualization in Power BI. Okay?